All right. Hey, everyone. How's it going? It has been a minute since I've been on here and shared anything. So I wanted to come on here today and talk about why it is so incredibly important to have more than one surgical consult, right? Even with a doctor within the same specialty. So multiple breast surgeons, multiple plastic surgeons, et cetera. So today I met with a new oncologist, gynecologist. I've met with a couple so far, or I met with one other so far, wasn't really, I don't know, fond of her, didn't feel like I got a lot of information. So decided to meet with another one, got an incredible amount of information today. And that's sort of been my experience all along in terms of picking my surgical team. And I kind of talked about this in a previous video, just about the reason why, you want to be really thoughtful about picking your surgical team, right? Because you're taking away parts or, rearranging your body in a way that's like it's drastic and there's no going back from that. It's like hand puppets, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm Italian. It just happens. So but it's so important, right? And when I met with this woman today after waiting almost 3 hours, which was incredibly frustrating, but the point is she gave me so much more information than the previous gynecologist that I met with, who it was a video consult, it wasn't in person. She gave me some information, but she didn't go super in depth. This person that I met with had me do tests beforehand. She had me have a transvaginal ultrasound. She was able to read those results back to me and going over it and talk about like the difference between having a hysterectomy and having an oophorectomy and why you would want to do it this way and what to consider that way. It was just so incredibly different. And it really made me reflect on how different my experiences have been across the board in terms of meeting with these surgeons, right? Again, we're talking about removing body parts. I mean, I keep saying this, you guys, but I really want everybody to understand this because I think there's a lot of people who hear about, oh, you have BRCA1 or BRCA2, right? And oh, you're having these prophylactic or preventative surgeries, but it's really not a big deal because you don't have cancer. It is a big fucking deal. You are removing body parts. You are rearranging your body. Like, I cannot express that enough. It is super important for you to know that you have the right surgical team and to be talking to doctors in a way that you understand what they're saying, they understand what you're saying, and you're really getting all of your questions answered because people talk in really different ways. They hear things really differently. I also really highly recommend that you bring somebody with you, right? But at the end of the day, the reason why it's so important to interview, and I say interview because it is an interview, right? You're talking to these doctors, getting a feel for them, who they are, what their specialty are. Can they do the surgeries? Of course they can. They're fucking doctors, right? But at the end of the day, right, you want to understand who they are as a person, how they're going to treat you as a patient. You want to understand that they really get your fear and anxiety or your excitement or whatever it is of how you feel to make sure that you're being cared for in the right way, right? That's to me, that is what's important. That is what a real good medical practice is. That's what a good doctor does. So I have to put my hair up because it's like really crazy. So that is why it's really important to like get multiple opinions as well, right? Because you could go in and talk to one doctor like I have, and then, okay, so now we have chicken hair. We're just going to keep rolling. So it's one of the reasons, right? Like I've gone in, I had, my first plastic surgery consult. He was like, yeah, hey, we could get you there, no problem. Like total like surgeon, just like it's not a problem. I've talked to him twice since then, and he's changed a little bit each time, and I like him more and more. But he's kind of got this very nonchalant attitude about him. The other plastic surgeon that I talked to was very matter of fact, very risk averse, wanted a lot of tests done, really got into the minutia of my medical history, right? And so again, it's just two very different ways of looking at the same problem. So what was funny about today was, we're talking about the difference of having an oophorectomy, ovary ovaries and fallopian tubes removed versus having a full hysterectomy. And so the first gynecologist I talked to said, well, it's really up to you, and, didn't order any testing and kind of talked me through the procedure and, what the recovery would be. And, yeah, we could do it before, we could do it after, like you kind of drive, but didn't really weigh in with any specifics. The gynecologist I saw today had ordered a transvaginal ultrasound before. When I met with her, she was able to review that report with me and say, well, we can actually take this out laparoscopically because of the size of your uterus and what we see. The cysts you have on your ovaries, they're small enough that we're not concerned about that. Like, she really, again, got into the minutia, and it's just a very different way of attacking the same problem, right? She also was able to confirm for me, that yes, I could have everything taken out, but I don't need to have everything taken out. But there is a greater risk of leaving it in, that if I do actually get uterine cancer, by the time they would find it, it would be far more aggressive. And then that leads to other risk factors, right? That leads to it having metastasized, the cancer having metastasized elsewhere, and some other things. So it really makes you consider the problem being BRCA1. Are you going to do an oophorectomy, just tube and ovary removal, or do you want to do a hysterectomy to remove that risk of uterine cancer? Now, the risk of uterine cancer is small, but the fact that even though it's small, if you get it, by the time you get it, it's usually late stage and aggressive and most likely metastasized. So, like, all cards on the table, take it out, right? For me, I'm like, take it out. I don't want to wait and then have to have another surgery later on, right? Because you could do that. You could do the oophorectomy now, and then later on kind of get through things and then do the full hysterectomy and take out the uterus. Why am I going to have two surgeries? Just take it out now. Also, if it's going to lead me to a greater risk of something later on, even if it's small, the whole point of me doing this and going down this road of these preventative surgeries is to not have that fucking risk. So for me, gotta go, right? But again, talking to this surgeon, it really was different. It was more information. It was a different level of care. Now, I didn't really connect with her personally. Again, I am not looking for my surgeons to be my best friends, but I want to know that they care. And the thing that I did like about this surgeon was she kind of put all cards on the table and said, do you have any other questions? This is what we see. And I felt like I was taken care of in a different way than the previous surgeon. So that being said, it's also been sort of the same experience with the plastic surgeons and the breast surgeon that I met, or both breast surgeons that I met with, right? One side seems to be much more risk averse, meaning they are into the weeds of my medical history to say, what about this? What about this? What about this? Sort of no stone unturned. Where the other side is like, I do this all the time. I'm a breast surgeon. I'm going to cut the nerves. Nerve damage is going to be possible. Just really kind of matter of fact, right? Just sticking to what it is and not necessarily answering my questions or fears, or really taking care of me as the patient, just kind of addressing the issue. So I think it's incredibly important to have conversations with at least two doctors. I think it's good to compare apples to apples and see what you get, see where the gaps are. And then, part of this is your own self-education, because none of us have been here before. Like, nobody wakes up and, like, you go to the doctor for a cold or, the flu, or, you hurt your arm or your leg. But you don't necessarily go to the doctor often to talk about removing your breasts or taking out your body parts, right? So take the time to talk to at least two different surgeons. The good news I have found, or at least in my case of having this diagnosis and having this genetic marker, is that doctor's appointments have become incredibly easy to get. They're like, oh, you need to talk to somebody else. Let me make that appointment for you. And you have it within a couple of weeks. Knock on wood, so far, that's been my experience, which has been great to sort of get through this process of kind of trying to find your surgical team and get these surgeries on the books. Because again, you guys, for me, since I found out about this, I have no question that surgery is the way I'm going. If I can cut my risk and get this off the table, I'm all in. Do I want to have surgery? No, but I'm going to because it is the best opportunity for me to live a healthy, cancer-free life. So talk to multiple surgeons, get a second opinion, make sure that you're really comfortable with the information that you're getting, and to make sure that you're really getting all the information, because I think there's some stuff that just kind of stays on the surface. And I think if you have any sort of pre-existing medical condition, or if you have any concerns about like the risks and what can go wrong and kind of your particular scenario, talk about it with these doctors, talk about it with these surgeons who are going to be doing these procedures on your body. It is really, really important. And because I think you're going to get different answers or not, depending on who you talk to, right? That has been my experience. I've seen that a lot in some of the chat groups and support groups that I'm in as well from other women. And again, like I said today, it just was so apparent, and it really made me want to come on here and talk to you about it. So there you go. I hope this helps. If you like these videos, please, I sound so weird saying this, but like, subscribe, and follow. I'm going to keep posting stuff because over the next couple of weeks, we are going to have a few more doctor's appointments. And then hopefully by the second week of March, we're going to have the decision, or I'm hoping to make my decision around my surgical team. And then we're going to get that shit on the books, you guys. So have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.